Man, I got a
Oh,
question. How is that confusing? Why are you juxtaposing men fighting for rights to have equal rights to their kids
so
to men dating women with children? I
so
don't
let
see how
me
those
say
two
this, Sweeney.
correlate.
Let me say this, Sweeney. I will acknowledge that from the research I've seen and just from being around people, there's a difference between a married man who got a divorce and who had kids than a man who just had children, right?
Mm.
So when we're talking just about the man who's had a divorce, what I've read was you could ask now. I guess it depends on what state whether they favor giving the kid to the man or the woman, right? And I do think that those men are the ones who get screwed the most out of the deal. And the men who just having kids, they're the ones because it's so many of them. They're the ones who are giving the whole thing a bad name when these guys over here, you know, a great majority of them are trying to do things right. They're trying to see their children. They have a bond with their kids. They've been living with their kids all this time. It's just two different scenarios. Does that make sense? But I would say this: you'll never know. Let me just say this: you'll never know if you don't ask. You can't sit here and say predict what a judge is going to say for you. If you didn't ask, you'll never know. Now, if you get up here and you say I want joint custody and she denies you, okay, then we can talk about it. But if you don't ask, it's
Men
hard
are
to say.
asking. That's the ones who are
According
complaining
to
are the ones.
according to
No, we're talking about. You got to hear it from men's advocate standpoint, not just y'all are looking at the men who don't go to court at all and saying, "Well, y'all aren't asking." Talk
no
to the
no
men
no
who
no.
actually. Hold on, wait.
Okay.
Talk to the men who actually do go to court. They're telling you they're being given a raw deal. They're telling you that man, all she has is the right to say no, and y'all are arguing against that. Why are you arguing against that man? He's telling you that he's getting a raw deal. This
So, I don't know if y'all know OGJ Speed. Shout out to him. He come on the panel from time to time, and he like I. So, excuse my ignorance. I'm just paraphrasing what I heard him say because I've never been through this scenario. And to anybody who has, my heart go out to you. I understand it's a really messed up situation. All right. He said that a lot of times the reason that because he said he helped other fathers get their children and he got his kids because it wasn't so much that they were awarding based off of gender. It was who was in custody of the children during the time of court. So like the police came to the house and the woman left and the children stayed with the man at the house, then he would retain custody through the whole process and she would have to petition for it. So I don't know if that's technically how anybody else experience is,
oh no,
but
that's exactly how it is. But what tends to happen is that if, say, for instance, man and woman don't get along, right? They've been together for 5 or 6 years, but they don't get along. The woman says, "I'm about to leave, and I'm taking the kids with me." Oftentimes, he can't fight her on that. If she decides to take the kids and they get into an altercation or something like that, most of the time he can't just like strong arm the kids to stand at the house. If she wants to walk out with the kids, he can't like strong arm them and force them to be there. So what happens is that she like, or if she calls the law and the law comes in and be like, "Hey, look, y'all fighting. Who's the aggressor? Okay, you going to jail, or hey, you got to let her and the kids go if they want to go or whatever." Or sometimes
Sweeney,
and then
Sweeney,
what's up?
Sweeney. Can I please? I don't mean to. I just because of what your example is, I want to give you just one more example, and then I'll let you go. But
Go ahead.
the example that you use about her saying, "I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving." You know what else happens? She'll take the kids and she'll leave, and then she'll start the divorce process. And then during the divorce process, the judge will order that her and the kids move back into the house, and the man gets out.
Yep. And then they kick the
So you
they
guys don't have abandonment in California because whoever leaves the house is usually home abandonment.
not if she take the kids with her.
Yeah, exactly,
No, no, no,
Sweeney. Not
no.
as
And then no
no, they can't do
in
that
the
in Georgia.
divorce process, a lot of times, and Georgia may be a different state, but in a lot of states, they
Okay.
would take they would move the mother and the kids back into the family home because that's what's considered the family home. So they would say, "Oh, but somebody has to go," and normally they would say they tell the father he
I
has to go.
understand that, but the part where she said at the point in time where she said, "Hey, look, I'm about to take the kids and leave," in the divorce process, and none of that shit haven't even happened yet. Oh, she can go to jail for that. Over here, you can get that ass locked up. It's almost like men need to know how to vet women by understanding what different types of women are and behave like, so that they don't wind up in these situations. I guess they would need experience for that, though.
are asking someone to be your wife, you're not looking for someone to serve you, which I think some men honestly do go into marriage with that intention. You're looking for a partner. And I think a lot of men sort of forget that.
It's important for women to become mothers. Will the agreeers please step forward?
They say that women are twice as prone as men to be depressed, and women in their 30s without children are twice as much likely to be depressed than mothers in their 30s.
Do you think it's in their best interest to become mothers?
Well, I guess that depends on the person, but without mothers, we're not going to continue the human race, right? So maybe that ties up to your last question. Men are attracted to women because there's a biological need to reproduce. Women tend to have more attention from men. That's how they mated. And that's how the race survived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right?
But would you go so far as to think we should encourage all women to be mothers?
I don't think everybody should be parents. Have you looked at the kids that are being raised or the kids that don't have children? Like if I'm not capable of having children, I'll adopt. But is it for everybody? I don't think so. And generally speaking, not everything's for everybody. So, but only women can be mothers. So it's very hard for me to say that they shouldn't be encouraged to be mothers.
Got it. All right, let's bring in all of our disagreeers.
Side effects that can happen to you, like down to the smallest thing, like hair loss, your teeth, like all the calcium, everything goes to the baby. Everything goes to the baby. The thing that really upsets me about like motherhood and putting this pressure on women to become mothers is like women who struggle with infertility. When you tell women that like your whole purpose in life is to be a nurturer, a mother, to take care of children, that leaves out such a section of women that had, whether it's they just naturally couldn't have babies or, you know, they had some sort of cancer, they lost an ovary, they lost something. And now these women are going to be stuck with no identity, just like lost in the world because your whole purpose is to be a mother. And then it's wild because when you become a mother, it is not at all what it seems like. You know, it's not all Pinterest and cutesy what it seems like. It's super overwhelming. There's a ton of hormones that run through your body, postpartum depression, all the things that happen to you. And to put that...
Because it's difficult, and I'm not going to argue with you that it's difficult. I'll never know, right? We can agree to that. But wouldn't you say that it's one of the experiences that brought you the most joy, the most purpose, the most fulfilling is the word I would use?
I would say that has to be balanced with, it's also the hardest, scariest, most terrifying thing I've ever done. So it doesn't bring me the same amount of joy, because for as much joy as it brings me terror and fear. I have 3 little girls. One of them is disabled. The incidence of, you know, offenses that happen to little girls that are disabled like her is super high. So while yes, it does bring me joy and fulfillment, the amount of
this idea that women should always be mothers, but I do think women that choose to be mothers should be respected, and what they're doing is important.
I think that most women that don't have children will regret it, but I've met enough. I said most, but I have met enough women that I don't see a nurturing bone in their body and are very self-centered that I don't think would benefit. Like, I don't think they could really be mothers and like raise the kids and put them first. So I think it depends on.
So here's my thing on that. Should women be mothers, or is it women's purpose to be mothers? Yes. What do I say to the women who are infertile? Either don't have children because biologically it's not meant for you to be a mother, or you get a surrogate. Is that the right word for it? I don't want to fuck shit up because I've been drinking wine tonight. That's not the right word? Damn. It's yes and see, that's the difference between
You said use a surrogate or be a
carries a
surrogate.
baby for another person. A surrogate is a person who carries a baby. I'm sorry, a woman who carries a baby for another couple. That's a surrogate. You mean like adopt?
I think he was saying.
I'm saying
use a surrogate.
Take my nut.
Oh, use a surrogate.
We're gonna borrow a woman's body to bring my baby in. Is that called surrogate? What the fuck, man, Amra?
You said be a surrogate. That's why she was confused.
You said be a surrogate. How could she be a surrogate? She's infertile.
I mean, get a surrogate. God damn.
Man, this shit is hilarious, boy.
I think all women was made to be. I think they was made to be mothers or be in a nurturing role, and I think that social conditioning kind of contaminates that, and you'll get offshoots of that. But at the base nature of women, I believe that they are supposed to be mothers. And I don't know if it's random, but it kind of ties into this. I don't know if y'all ever heard this show Could Have Been Records, or Could Have Been it's like Drewski. Yeah. He dating all these women right now. So on the show,
I love that show. Me and my husband, we watch it together. I love it.
All of the women on that show are dykes, right? Or studs. If I'm using the wrong language for women that act like men, that dress like men, date only women and are men. The irony of that show is they like him, or they want to be around him, or they infatuated with his money enough that they all trying to become feminine women to get him back, and they resetting back to default settings. That's crazy to me. That's why I say it's social program.
Marcus,
the right scenario, and you'll reset somebody back to their default programming, and that's always been my stance. So,
but Marcus, they do look awkward. You could tell it's not natural, though.
So you saying the women that Drewski was interacting with was reset to their default setting?
Yeah, they all resetting.
So let me ask you this: if Drewski went bankrupt tomorrow, what would they reset to then?
Hold on, Mary, you got to speak on it real quick, please.
I'm not sure, but I think once they get some I think because a lot of them is virgin. I think once they get some dick in their life, they might stay that way. That's just my personal opinion. But